Manchester. Here's Peter White.
Good morning, Peter.
A dynamite! All right, everyone, it's Hump Day. Good morning, Manchester. It's a brand new Hump Day. What do you say? Easy G is here this morning.
Yeah, I was thinking it's the first time I think it's been me and you forever.
Oh, well, Matt's running a little late, so here we go. It's the morning show coming at you live from downtown Manchester at 95.3 FM WMNH. Waiting on Matt Courchesne. He's stuck in the line at Dunk's because he's getting me a coffee. But we got a big one for you today, folks. All right, we got Easy G here, first thing in the morning.
Yeah, this here about 35 minutes because I got another session with Melissa.
Right, very good. Well, we got a big show. We don't have time for your BS today, Ease.
Yeah, sure. Nobody does.
Right, so on the docket today, we have former police chief Nick Willard dropping by in just a bit. Now a U.S. Marshal coming in to talk about his recent trip to Mexico. So we'll talk all about that. And on the schedule, we have maybe, just maybe, the mayor of Manchester, Joyce will be dropping by. So keep it right here. Ease, what are we going to do here to kill time, huh?
We give a shout out. I just saw the owner of Cafe Laurent here with drinks, Alex.
All right, Alex, so you got a free coffee.
I did not get a free tea.
Oh, here he is.
Oh,
Stuck in the line at Dunk's.
Speak of the devil.
All right, here we go. Very good. Let's say good morning to everyone in our Facebook live room. Andrew Barry up early this morning. Good morning. Amy Hazard King there every day at this time of the day. And Dave Rivard, good morning to you. And good morning to my co-host this morning, Mr. Matt Courchesne.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. How are you?
You're not really a morning guy either.
A little here and there. You know, I got to get into the routine. But
well, you have a young child too, so that kind of reinforces getting up in the morning.
Yes. Well, he was sleeping right now as I was leaving.
Oh, really?
And then there was a big line at Dunkin' Donuts to get you your precious coffee. So.
Well, hey, man, you offered yesterday.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right. I did, and I delivered.
How old is the child, may I ask?
Okay. Well,
He's 4 years old.
Stop, Ease, please.
It's all right.
I know, but there's no need to. We don't need to know how old his child is.
All right.
I thought that was a good question. Don't worry about it.
Did you really think so?
Yeah, I did.
Because I didn't think so.
I did. Boy, you really got your sleep today, huh?
I got a lot of sleep last night.
Yeah, that's always good.
You know what I did? I got up early, though.
Yeah.
I got up very, very early.
Like what time is that? Are you going to cut my head off for asking that question?
Well, no, I'm not going to cut your head off. And okay, you know what? It is National Apology Day, so I apologize.
I accept your apology. Go the Rod Pete.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. But we do have a big one today, Matt. We have Chief.
I could barely sleep. That was part of my problem today. I couldn't sleep last night. I couldn't sleep.
What
a lineup we got today.
We got a lineup. It's hot in here, though. I'm telling you. I don't want to open the window because we got 95% humidity out there. It's only 67 degrees, but it's going to be a hot summer day. I don't know. Are you ready?
I love that little weather that you kicked in there. Great
well,
job.
you got to. You got to. But it is National Forgiveness Day, so I do apologize to Ease for jumping down your throat for asking how old Matt's child was.
Just a harmless question, Peter.
It is a harmless question. I just feel like I have so much to get to this morning.
It's a big day, and I'm surprised. The professional you are, though, you slept no problem last night. You knew. I got to get some good night's sleep. I got a big show tomorrow.
But then I started.
I got to be ready.
Then I started thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I started, I woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I'm going to say just a few minutes before 4 a.m., I was up.
Wow.
Yeah, I was up around 4 a.m. myself.
You were? What were you up so early for?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Is that typical for you, or?
Yeah, well, sometimes, yeah, because my lousy feet and stuff.
Right. And you're going to Chill Spa this weekend, right?
I can't wait. Yeah, Saturday.
Really?
Oh my God, first time.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
You're looking forward to it.
Big time.
They're going to treat you nice up there. I can guarantee you that.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I heard all about that. You had a great experience up there, huh?
Every time I go there.
So this isn't just once. You've been a couple times now.
I've been
a regular.
I've been more than a couple times. I've been more than a couple. I have. I'm all about the spa now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It makes you feel good. It's great.
It's one of those things. You don't know what you're missing till you know what you're missing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think you should go up there sometime.
I would too. My poor toes, though. They've been through, my big toes, both of them have been through a lot of damage.
Well, hold on. Before we get to your
So
damage.
I'm very nervous about that.
Well, a lot of people are skeptical about letting other people see their toes.
Yes.
Because I got size 12s.
Yeah.
They're pretty big. My big toes look like giant thumbs. and I'll tell you, though.
Man.
I tell you, they're not as bad as you think, Matt.
Okay.
And I tell Daryl that, too.
Yeah.
And Daryl, as soon as he's done with his operation and back on his feet, I think he's going to go. Maybe you guys could go together.
Yeah. Maybe we should, because one of my left toe, I dropped a dresser drawer in college on it.
Oh.
Me and my buddy, I wasn't strong enough to have the thing. I don't know what he was thinking. I'm more of a foreman when
Right.
it comes to moving, you know?
I'm not a fan either.
And, passed out.
No way.
Oh, yeah, I broke my toe, and they had to take the toenail off. So, I got a split in my toenail. It's And then the other one, I was crossing the street in California, and I wasn't paying attention and hit the median, and my toe went back into my...
Were you barefoot?
I was in sandals. I was living in California, man. Of
Okay,
course I was.
sorry.
Of course I was.
That's
You
the
don't
same-
know? You don't know?
Is that the same toe?
No, different toes. Both big toes. Peter's got thumb toes.
Yes.
I got deformed
Right.
toes.
Fine. But you know what? Since now when you have the experience, it's not just they're taking care of your toes. You sit in this wonderful, wonderful massage chair,
Yeah.
and the water is bubbling your feet, and it is absolutely like to die for. I'm
Well,
telling
maybe
you.
I'm going to check it out. You know, maybe it's that next step,
Something you could do as
know?
a couple too. Also.
Right, absolutely. Well, I've gotten Jill a couple gift cards from there, and she's definitely got some money to spend there. That's
Right.
for sure.
Very good.
I remember coming in here for like the last 10 minutes of his show, and the ladies came here because of this. We had a little, couldn't get to the spa that day because of technical issues. And like I told Peter that day, I never seen so many beautiful girls in the house.
Oh, over at Chill. So you're
No,
gonna
they
go.
were here. They were here doing the hand.
Well, I know,
hand
but
thing.
they're from Chill.
Right.
Right.
Very beautiful ladies.
Very beautiful ladies.
That never hurts.
All right. Not only is it National Forgiveness Day, we also have Beautician's Day. So speaking
Well, there
of,
you go.
yeah, speaking of people that help to make you beautiful out there, so happy Beautician's Day, and you can say that to all our friends over at Chill Spa.
Right. I think maybe you give Chrissy a call today and say,
Say happy,
Happy
Beautician's
Beautician's
Day.
she'd like that.
Well, maybe she will. Maybe she will. National Chocolate Pudding Day. Do you like chocolate puddingies?
I do, but it doesn't like me.
Right, I figured.
Yeah.
All right, very good. National Canoe Day. You like to go out in the canoe, anybody?
I've done it once or twice.
Oh, really? A canoe?
Back in the day.
Really?
I did it once.
I haven't been in too many canoes. Have you, Matt? You seem like a canoe type of guy.
I was for a little while, to be honest with you. I had
Right.
a little Pontiac Sunbird with a canoe on top of it. An old town. That was
Yeah.
a nice canoe, but then I gave it away to my buddy for his I had no money, so I gave him the canoe for his wedding present.
Oh, okay. That's all right, though.
I did it once. I remember I was in New York. I did it once.
In New York, down the Hudson?
Lake George, family trip.
Oh, really? Okay, Lake George. I've been up there.
One of our last family trips before my sister went to school.
So you don't go on family trips anymore?
My sister lives in Hawaii, so kind of difficult.
Oh,
Wow,
okay.
that's pretty cool, though. Have you been to Hawaii?
No, my folks did though.
Yeah.
I think I would love to go to Hawaii.
I think you would fit right in Hawaii.
Well,
I think that's your spot, man.
Well, I don't know, but see, if you go to Hawaii, I feel like you can't go. You got to go for more than a week. You got to go for like 2 weeks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Were you a bartender ever?
No, I
I
wasn't.
can see you being slinging beers in a Hawaiian bar.
In a Hawaiian bar.
Yeah.
If I could make drinks.
And you made your way in there to the locals, and it's a local one. It's a local bar.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you think
Yes.
Hawaii? You think Hawaii would accept me?
Right, I think they would.
Because when you're an outsider in Hawaii, they call you a haole.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then don't steal their wave, bro.
No.
Don't steal their wave. Those guys are tough. They'll beat you up.
My sister's been there in Maui, Hawaii now 19 years.
So she's really Hawaiian now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know,
She loves it.
I would love it too. Now, what made her move out to Hawaii?
She loves the hot weather.
Oh, okay. It wasn't to get away from you.
No, hates snow.
Okay, I understand that. I think as I get older, I learn to not care about the winter as much anymore because I'm not a winter sports guy.
Yeah, I never was either. I was always playing basketball and didn't have the money to go skiing or whatever. But It makes me appreciate the summer more, to be honest with you. I really enjoy the seasons.
I do. I like when, usually when summer, late August, early September, I like to see the changeover where it goes into fall and the leaves change and all that. I dig. It's after the holidays. It's after the holidays, January, February, March, that I have a hard time with.
Well, we were just discussing this, and as we have these amazing discussions at the back room while we're slinging chicken tenders, but we were trying to say, what's your least favorite month? And I had actually a hard time figuring out what month I hate the most, and I think it's February.
Really? And it's that's a short month,
the
too.
Shortest month. I don't know. I have a hard time with Valentine's Day.
Okay.
I just think it's almost a scam. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not a big fan of it, and and that's the only thing that's really going
Valentine's
on there.
Day, if you're in a relationship, Valentine's Day can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah,
and you
year.
would think you would learn, but I don't know. It just sneaks up on you,
Oh, yeah. I agree.
To counter that, I would say, it is winter break, February vacation. The last week of February usually is when the kids are out of school, so that's always nice. But
Absolutely. So let me ask you, Matt. Now that school is out, Matt here is the director of helping our pupils excel.
yes, that's correct.
And what happens during the summer? You stay in contact with these kids?
I do. I
Okay,
do.
awesome. Very
And
good.
I'm helping out OYS. They've been nothing but great to me. John Donovan, Mario Pena. They're fun. They're fun to work with, and I've always been a guy who's enjoyed working with other people. And it's all about bringing synergy, and bringing synergy to the city and the kids and the community. And so we're going to help out OYS. But then, just for example, the kid reached out to me yesterday who's not doing so hot. She's 20 years old. Just trying to find her way in the world. And
Sure.
I think a lot of them, Peter, are like fighting which way they're going to go. You know what I mean? They're going to go down the right road or they're going to go down the wrong road. And I think, they see people making quick money easy. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, and then they're working for $9-10 an hour. It's hard. So long story short there, I just adjust. I'm not much of a planner myself, and it's just the problems always come to you. You don't have to wait long. So after this, I'm going to try to run over to City Hall, register my car, and then meet up with her for some breakfast and finding some kids some jobs.
See, here's where you go wrong with registering your car. What's the day? The 26th?
Yeah, I'm screwed. I knew it. I should have gone in the middle of the month. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. And they do a great job over there at City Hall where you register your cars and stuff like that.
The line moves a lot quicker than you think.
Than it used to.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. I mean,
intimidating, though, when you see that line. Go ahead, Heath.
Yeah, I don't register the car anymore, but can't you do it online?
Yes, you can. You're right.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they send you that paper in the mail. No, he's right, though. They send you that paper in the mail, and all you got to do is...
Yeah, and you could actually do it from the comforts of your own home, right?
Correct.
On a computer,
Correct.
right?
On a computer.
Very good. Well, look who's here.
I know. Looking good, too.
The man of the
Jesus.
hour. Very exciting. Going around the room, giving everyone fist bumps. All right. Looking sharp.
Wow. I like the clean look there.
All right.
Forward Chief Nick Willard.
Yeah, thank you. All right, very good.
Love the sock.
All right, it is good to see you. Get your headphones on and get ready.
Let them get ready here.
That's right.
That's one of my complaints. You walk up here. I take the elevator now because I used to run up the stairs.
Oh, really?
And I'd be so out of breath, and you'd be drilling me with questions before I even got the headphones on. And
Right. Well, most
so
of
now
us.
I take the elevator now, so I'm ready.
Right. The elevator takes longer though,
It does take longer.
but you have time to think.
And breathe.
Very good.
I want to give Matt a quick praise. I saw him at the Manchester City Library, and he was doing his thing. And
What was he doing over at the library?
Doing my thing at the library.
He was helping one of the ladies there do her homework, whatever she was doing. And
Oh, well, there you go.
he was doing a great job.
Helping one of my kids, yeah.
Well, very, very good. All right. Well, let's introduce our guest this morning.
Thanks.
We have U.S. Marshal Nick Willard here. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
It's good to see you. I haven't seen you since the big fashion show.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Right. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
But you've been a busy guy.
Yeah, you know what? I'll jump right into this, though. We were talking about pedicures.
Yeah.
My daughter and I had a daddy-daughter pedicure moment when the two of us went out and had our feet done. Then we went out to lunch. And
Oh,
enjoyed
nice.
a great Father's Day. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was for Father's Day?
Yeah. You know, pedicures, you can't beat them.
You can't. Now,
You can't.
how long?
I'm getting one Saturday, so.
And you enjoy it. It's the best.
Right. Can you believe someone's actually going to touch his feet?
Yeah, I can believe that. And
Okay.
they're professionals.
They're
You know?
looking pretty rod, so I'm looking forward to getting fixed.
Right.
Something's always worse. Something's always worse. So
Yeah.
Hey, do what I did and have an American flag put on your two big toes.
Ooh,
Huh?
you can have that
And
done.
then when you're
yeah.
walking around in flip flops, everybody knows how patriotic you are.
No, they're going to take care of you. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
Now, how long, Nick, have you been getting pedicures?
Oh man, I was in traffic once on Mass Road. It was a Saturday, and I saw this thing for pedicures, Crystal Nails on Mass Road.
Okay.
And I had nothing else to do. I just come out of Planet Fitness, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get me one of those. So I pull in, and I said, hey, you have an open, and she goes, yeah, sure, sit down. So not only did I sit down, she said, what do you want? And I says, I want the top one, the most expensive one.
Sure.
And
The works.
The works. And, they rub my feet down. They rub my calves down with this scrub stuff.
I know.
They put like hot wax in a bag. I don't know what they call it. And then they put it on my feet. It was just amazing. I was there 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm telling you.
all right, yeah, hot wax.
It was like
in a bag.
There's a name for it. I don't know
Okay.
what it's called.
We don't even care what it's called, Nick.
Yeah.
It just feels so good.
I know.
It was the best.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
All right, I'm gonna check it out.
You
I'm
have
sold.
to. Now,
I'm sold.
not only do you get your feet done and all that, while you're getting massaged by a chair.
That's correct. You get massaged by a chair.
Have you ever sat in the massage chairs up at Chill?
I've never had a pedicure at Chill. I've had a manicure and I've had a scalp massage,
Okay.
but I've never had a pedicure there.
There's so much you don't know about this guy. It blows my mind. I was thinking about it on the way over. I'm like, that guy is nothing what I think he is. Nothing.
Listen, my kids used to go to this hair place, and I had to pick them up one Saturday. And expensive to get your girls' hair, two teenage girls.
Yeah.
So I go in, and my daughter challenged me to get an eyebrow wax because she had hers done. So I said, let's do it. So I went and I got an eyebrow wax. But then I had to go to work for my 4 to 12 shift. I was a sergeant in detectives.
Oh, boy.
So I went walking in with perfectly manicured eyebrows, but they were all puffy and red.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So the guys knew immediately what I had done.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Hilarious.
it was pretty fun. Pretty fun.
I actually, and I've said it on the radio already, but 2 weeks ago, I had some injections, some Newtox injections.
Oh, cool. Like,
No, that's fine, right? Right in the forehead.
Sure.
It's kind of like Botox, and it kind of,
what are you trying to clean up?
I'm not. I didn't even, I was just kind of curious. They offered it to me, and I did it, and I talk about it on the radio.
I think it's pretty cool.
I did, too. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's not Botox. It's Newtox.
Yeah,
Is that what you said?
it's a different, different brand, Matt.
Yeah.
There's many different brands
Just
out
to
there.
make it a little bit easier for somebody to get the injection there and not feel that they're getting.
Well, at first I was kind of apprehensive because it's not something that I would normally say, hey, this is what I need. But I'm going to tell you, it does make you feel good.
yeah.
But calling it Newtox, you kind of take that stigma out, right?
That's
so now
what
a
I'm saying,
dude will
right.
do it.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Right, the botulism thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I got Botox shots because I had headaches. And
Okay.
they gave me
Oh,
Botox
yeah.
shots, and it worked.
See, I didn't know you
It
had that.
worked.
Why didn't you say something last time
It
you were
was
here?
like 15 years ago, but
Okay, well, that's
it's
probably
not
gone
regular.
now.
It just, I don't know if it just happened to be whatever. They just went away.
Wow,
And it happened to be after the Botox
that's
shot,
why you
so-
look so young.
Yes, right. Oh, yes.
I used to get a lot of. I never had Botox, but I used to get a lot of stress headaches in back in earlier days of my life. But thank God I don't get them anymore.
Back in high school?
I did get yes, a lot of them in high school.
I noticed you got a haircut since yesterday. Got your haircut?
No, I got a cut a couple of months ago over Shelley's.
Yeah, okay.
Give her a shout out.
He was talking about your look yesterday.
Oh yeah! Oh my God!
Hey, and let's get into it. I don't want to. I know you're running your show.
Yeah.
And even though yesterday Easy E took the whole thing over
Oh,
for a
I
good
know.
45 minutes.
Oh, I know.
But there's a couple of things I'm going to go to that he mentioned. So that
Okay,
was
so-
actually
all
kind
right.
of cool.
well, let's
That's
do
fine.
it. Go ahead.
But I just want to say, Creamland every day, all day.
I appreciate the
He loves it.
respect. Yeah.
No goldenrod for you at all?
So when I was chief and Mayor Gatsis was my mayor, that's where we would meet for lunch to discuss business. We'd have
I saw him
we'd
there
have-
the other day.
yeah,
I
we'd
waved to him.
have hot dogs every once in a while. I'll have a clam plate.
Oh, did you share the clam plate or did you each get your own?
No, we each got our own. I don't think he did. I don't think he did. He did mine, but every once in a while, I just see him grab a fry off my plate
Okay.
Oh,
when he finished his.
That's right. Now, typically, who would pay for the meal?
Listen, Mayor Gatsis would always pay.
Really?
I took a trip down to Washington D.C. with him to on our dime, by the way, but actually on his dime. So the city didn't pay for it. He paid for it out of his own pocket to
Sure.
see current Chief Carlo Capano graduate from the FBI National Academy. So,
Okay.
yeah, he was so proud of that whole training that he wanted to go down, and we went together. He paid for everything. I couldn't pay for one thing. Not
Now,
one.
what does the FBI chiefs of police do this?
Yeah, so it's police professionals from all over the world. So like my class had 266 classmates representing 27 countries and 49 of the 50 states. And they're just police leaders. It's an 11-week college-type leadership training where you take 5 classes and you have, a bunch of assignments, final exams. It's pretty rigorous, but it was an absolute blast.
Oh, wonderful.
When was that, Chief?
I went in 2011.
Yeah.
And I think what Mayor Gatsis liked about it is when I went through, I got selected as the class president and the spokesperson.
Of
so I
course
got to
you
give
did.
a
Of
speech.
course he did.
So hold on. So I got to give the speech at the end, and somebody had forwarded it to the mayor, and he was so it meant the world to me that he felt the way he did about it because he did a little proclamation, and so from that he had an affinity for that leadership training, and he always supported it. So when Carla went through and was going to graduate as the assistant chief, he wanted to be there. So it was really cool.
So did you guys fly down? Sorry, Peter.
Yeah,
Did
we
you fly
flew
down
down.
or did you drive down?
So we flew
Because I
down.
would have loved to hear a story you driving down with him.
Yeah.
Road trip.
And the funny thing is that he and I were kind of beefing at the time. We had a philosophical difference
right,
between. But I think I'm like the son he never had. Anyways, we so we were kind of in a bad place. It was great that we went on this little road trip.
Yeah.
And so we get the rental car, and the person at the rental car place says, "Do you want an easy pass?" I said, "What the heck? I need an easy pass. I don't need an easy pass." And he said, "You want a GPS?" I don't know a GPS. I know where I am. I went to Quantico. So now I'm zipping up the highway from DC to Quantico, and I'm running all of these.
Is that me?
I'm running all of these tolls, and every time I run a toll, Mayor Gatch is going, cha-ching, that's going to cost you.
Right.
Cha-ching, that's going to cost you. So I get back, and sure enough, on my credit card were a bunch of these charges
Of course.
from the rental car company. So I wasn't thinking.
And were they charging you even more than what the actual Easy Pass was? too?
Exactly.
Well, what
Exactly.
happens is when you go to other states too, it's not $1 like it is here.
Yeah.
Correct.
You may pay 5, 7. If you're going the whole run on the New Jersey Turnpike or whatever, I mean, it's going to cost you $30 or whatever it is.
I think it was all said and done. It cost me $62.
All right.
But when I was pulling out,
He knew, though.
He knew,
He
and
knew,
he was saying,
yeah.
"Why didn't you get the Easy Pass?" I said, "You know what you're talking about." You know what I mean? But anyways, it was just funny. Every time we went through a toll, cha-ching, that's all he'd say.
But it's funny. So you're in a car for 10 hours?
No, from DC to Quantico was only about an hour.
Oh,
They,
okay.
they flew. They flew.
we
Oh, you
flew,
flew
grabbed the
down.
rental. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, just being in the car that hour, you get to know someone.
Oh yeah.
Like when we see him, if I didn't know you, but I mean, I see you as the chief of police, U.S. Marshal.
Yeah.
See Mayor Gatsis as the mayor, all serious, all business, But I mean, you guys must have had a blast.
He's he certainly is a hot-headed individual, right? He has a core value that nothing's going to shake him from it. And no matter how you feel to the contrary of an issue, if he's committed to it, that's it. And I think people misread that commitment for hot-headedness. But I have to tell you, and I've seen it time and time again behind the scenes, he's probably one of the single most generous people I've ever known.
Absolutely.
I've seen people come up into his office when we're having a meeting that are in dire need, and I'll just see him whip out $100 without question and tell the person to have a nice life and good luck and that kind of stuff. And, so I've seen, what he's done for families of people who are suffering from the disease of addiction. And so I think a lot of people misunderstand him, even though he and I had a couple of rows, we had
that's going to happen, though. But that's
Donnybrook.
life, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I hear you. I've battled with him too, but you can't. I know he's a good guy who cares about the city more than probably a lot of people.
Deeply.
He really cares.
deeply. And
I agree.
And he was singing sounding the alarm about this drug epidemic long before anybody else did.
Right.
I'll tell you, I saw him a few months back, and he may have been coming. It was way back, I think. It must have been almost a year now, because he was coming up stairs here for a candidate speech, because he's an executive counselor now.
He
right?
wasn't coming up the stairs. He took the elevator.
Well, no, I saw him at the door downstairs.
okay.
So I said, "Hey, Mayor Gatsis, how you doing?" He goes, "Oh, hey, Peter, how you doing?" And I said, "Yeah, I was talking about you on the radio today." And he paused for a second, and he looked at me, and he says, "Was it good?" And I said, "Of course it was. I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
But I also think so. I think anyone, whether you're a political party or whatever, and to become mayor of this city, I no matter what, I will respect that person.
100%.
You know what I mean? No matter who it is.
And let's be fair to him, too. I mean, I was not the easiest police chief to navigate. I really wasn't.
You weren't?
What were some difficulties that you brought there?
I think just my outspokenness.
Yeah.
If I was committed to an issue, I would say it, very much like the mayor, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think I stepped out of my lane.
Yeah.
And it's something that I learned. I said this before on your show. I took 11 weeks off between being chief and taking the marshal position, and I did a lot of reflection. I just did a lot of different things that I hadn't done in so long, and it just completely recharged my batteries. And I made a commitment to myself to not make those mistakes that I had made before.
Sure.
And be a different leader. And fortunately, this is a small office that I work in, and so it's easy to kind of to adhere to the dictates I'm putting on myself.
Sure.
But I learned from some of the missteps that I did as police chief.
Yeah.
I know I hurt some feelings. I know I caused. I was thinking about it this morning coming in. Chief Mara was the police chief for 7 years, and he was a great police chief. And he'd never had one march on City Hall against something that he did, right? Yeah. Or thought, right?
Yeah.
I had 3 of them in 3 years. So I had 3 marches on City Hall during an alderman's meeting about, the encrypted radios.
Okay,
that was a big one. The shelter in place on the west side after 2 police officers were shot, you know?
Yeah, but look, that you have to make decisions like that sometimes within a split second.
Yeah, well, that one was certainly not necessarily within a split second, but it was made with the safety of the citizens in mind.
Sure.
But anyways, just that those are a couple of examples.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I think people don't, you're so entrenched in it. People don't understand everything that you understand because you've been doing it for, you're living and breathing it. I'm sure you were living and breathing it when you were the chief.
Oh, yeah. It was, and it's being the police chief, particularly in this city, it's a meat grinder.
Yeah.
Right, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Late night calls.
All day, every day. I was on the phone with Chief Capano the other day, and he had to go because his phone, his texting's blowing up, and he's trying to read it and talk to me at the same time.
Right.
That's hard.
And it had to do with that pursuit. So, he's got to get off the phone. He's got to deal with what's going on. That pursuit that ultimately ended up in Bedford. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's he's living it now. I think he's doing a phenomenal job.
I said it earlier this week. I think one of the great things, and I know you implemented it too. But every day from 7 to I think 10 at night, 7 in the morning to 10 at night, you have community policing down here on Elm Street, and I've seen it with my own eyes how it's affected.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of problems with the business owners and homeless people kind of hanging around their businesses.
Yeah, we implemented that about three years ago.
I think it's great though.
But what we had to do is we had to move money in our budget. So we had to, because that's pretty much overtime. So you have to move money because we don't have, Carlo certainly doesn't have, Chief Capano doesn't have enough personnel to staff him on a regular shift. So he can't shut down 2 cruiser routes to put 2 people downtown. So you got to find money, and we found money in our budget because we had vacancies. So when somebody leaves, you now have that salary that you make up. So we would put a certain amount of money aside, and then we would predict. And then you would go to the mayor and alderman meeting, and they would look at your budget, and they'd say, wow, you're doing a great job with your budget, but what's this? And then you would say, well, this is the downtown initiative, where we're putting 2 beat cops down there. And I think it's been continuous for 3 years, I'm assuming.
And it's not only. Sorry, Matt.
No, you go.
It's not only that. I see the officers really getting to know the people that are downtown every day, whether it be business owners, people that work downtown. I've seen it make a difference.
It was a win-win, right? So the officers get to make it a little extra money, and the downtown people loved it, and the officers ultimately loved it as well.
All right.
The aldermen supported it, too.
They did.
They wanted
sure.
it. They're asking you where the money's coming, but they supported it.
Yep.
We're going to, you recently went on a trip to Mexico.
I did.
And it wasn't,
I can't wait for
and
this.
it wasn't a vacation.
No, it was a business trip.
We're going to talk about that with Carol, and right after this, we will be right back with U.S. Marshal Nick Willard.
You're listening to Peter White. Call us at 250-6007. It's the morning show.
Good morning. This is your wake-up call.
From ManchesterInkling.com, here's Carol Robideau.
Good morning, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Carol.
Hey, before we get into this, we're going to say goodbye to Easy G. He's got to get out of here, correct?
I got 5 minutes.
We can go now.
I got a quick question for former Chief Willard. If you were still the chief in Manchester, I know it's great that the police are focusing on downtown and causing, trying to clean up the streets. But how about problems on other parts of the streets, like on Valley Street, when there's a problems the other day at Creamland where we had some people dump over dumpsters, open containers of alcohol were found on the property, and how about problems on other parts of the city? I know it's great to focus on downtown, but what would you do if you were the chief?
Well, I would do the same thing that Chief Capalano is doing now. The Valley Street area still has a dedicated cruiser to it, right? So every ward in the city has a certain number of police officers.
Okay.
Downtown is just added through a completely different fund. So they've added to downtown through I'm assuming overtime. I don't really know how the chief is doing his budget. I thought I read something in the paper. But downtown is having the most significant problem. So it's an analytic police department. I look at all the analytics, and at the time, downtown was in the most need to have additional police officers, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Sure.
And there was someone there. It was just sometimes things happen. Were you saying that the time of the officer getting there was delayed, or?
No, he's had some issues the other day at Creamland with some open containers of alcohol and dumpsters were dumped over, and people were just.
Well, it's hard to be everywhere every minute of the day, but I think the Manchester Police Department does a great job as far as,
Oh, yeah.
And I assume that when someone has a cruiser shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, are they responsible just for a certain area, like on a grid of Manchester?
Exactly right. But,
okay.
But you have to be responsive to all citizens. So, if that particular cruiser route that's responsible for the area of Creamland, if they're off on a car accident, a car crash, they're dealing with that. So then what you have to do is pull from maybe a car on South Willow Street to come down to Valley Street to take care of that call. And that takes a little bit more than your normal response time. One thing that we looked at, and Chief Capano, as my assistant chief, was just incredibly diligent behind this, was, trying to knock down our response times. So what are our longest response times, and particularly the most important areas of crime? So if it's a burglary in progress, we want that response time to be less than 2 minutes, if at all possible. Right. But then we also have to extrapolate out if somebody had their mailbox smashed, and say, it took us an hour and 15 minutes to go to that call, but the reason is because the officer's off at a car crash, and should we be pulling somebody from downtown to go, take a mailbox report, or try to encourage the person to do the report over the phone, where a lot of people don't want to do that, right?
Kind of a shuffling act.
Exactly right. It's the dispatchers, like I used to call it triage. They're triaging calls for service, and it's continuous. So they're making split-second decisions where to deploy their personnel. Okay. But we're trying to encourage citizens, or we were. I'm assuming Chief Capano is doing the same thing, because he was the mastermind behind it when I was chief. Is getting people to report over the phone, but a lot of people just want to see that police officer no matter what.
Oh, sure. Sure. Very good.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that answer.
All right, Carol. What do you got for us today?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, look, I wanted to talk about.
Hey, Carol.
Hey, Chief.
Well, that was Matt.
I'm far from here.
Oh, that's okay. Well, we're going to talk to the chief, and you can, jump in here, Carol, if you have any questions. But we want to talk about his recent trip down to Mexico.
Yeah. So I get a call from John Delina of the DEA. How's the mic? Is it good?
Oh, it's good.
I'm a little too comfortable.
They're
in this
tough
couch.
over there, though, too.
I'm probably going to jump in.
Sorry, it's so hot in here. Also, I don't know what's going on.
So the regional DEA director of all of South America and Canada wants to show the top law enforcement officials across the country by region, their collaborative effort with the Mexican government to keep drugs off our street. So one of the first places he thought of was New England, because we're getting the hottest hit.
Right up 95, huh? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, what?
Right
it's coming in from the typical routes right up through the southwest border, through the busiest border crossing in the world in San Diego.
Right.
It's coming up in trucks, and then it's being distributed from San Diego. It goes up to New Jersey. From New Jersey, it typically goes to Lawrence, Massachusetts.
My guess would have been like Texas or something, and then making its way to the East Coast.
I mean, there are still those, but no, it's all coming up through San Diego.
Yep.
The Sinaloa cartel still using the same drug routes that they've used forever.
Really?
There was something I learned from the briefings that we had down there. Is there are certain agricultural trucks with certain license plates that do not get searched at the Mexican border. Now, that's so counterintuitive to me, because obviously if I have a plate coming out of Mexico that is not going to be stopped, well, why wouldn't you pack that thing full of drugs?
Right.
Right. So one of the commitments we got from so we actually met with Attorney General Barr's equivalent in Mexico, which is really cool. And he was talking about commitments they want to make to show the United States that they're doing everything in this effort, to keep drugs off our street.
Sure.
And one of them was to do away with that agreement to not stop vehicles with agricultural plates. Because the same comes, so if it's an American license plate coming in to Mexico, they don't stop that either. But they don't have a problem other than the United States putting guns on the streets of Mexico. So they put drugs on our streets, and we're putting guns on their street. The amount of firearms on the streets of Mexico is absolutely alarming. So they have an equal concern about the guns going into their country as we do of drugs coming into our country.
So, okay, wow. Well, we'll say, sorry to interrupt. We got to say goodbye to
No, I love it.
Easy G. I know you're a big fan.
I am a big fan. He used to go to all the aldermen's meeting. He was always very kind. I'd go up and get grilled by the alderman. He'd always give me a thumbs up that I did a good job. So it always meant a lot to me.
All right. Easy G, thank you so much.
See you, bud.
Have a good day. So do you think that whole agreement on like the agricultural license plates, how did that even come about? Like in the beginning, was there something wrong back then? And
I couldn't, I never.
You don't know. They don't know.
And I never asked. No one in the class asked. I'm assuming.
I just watched Magnum PI last night. I heard you were coming on, so I apologize for all my detective questions.
No, dude, I love it. It could have been part of a NAFTA agreement or whatever, you know. But it was an amazing trip. There were 15 law enforcement professionals from New England and a few from Chicago. The Chicago contingent is because of the amount of methamphetamines that they're seeing. They had shut down a lab, a meth lab, in the heart of the Sinaloa cartel area, an area where you would never see an American. You certainly would never see an American law enforcement professional, because if you did, that you would be dead. They would kill you. They don't just kill you down there. They actually torture you, then they kill you.
That ruthless, right?
That ruthless. I mean, the briefings that we got from the Mexicans as well was just astounding and an eye-opener. So we fly in, we go to Mexico City. And of course, I had this image, right? I'm like, I would never go to Mexico, ever.
Right.
Because of all the stuff that you hear.
Sure, not even on vacation.
Not even on vacation. I wouldn't even go to one of these resorts, And, my daughter lives in Chicago. Before I brought her out there, I'm like, honey, you can't live here. This is insanity. But it's one of the best cities in America.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But almost the same thing with Mexico City. Like, I had this image. I'd get in a cab and I'd get kidnapped. And,
yeah, right.
And my family wouldn't pay the ransom. Are you kidding me? They'd be like, take him. Keep the guy. But Mexico City was absolutely beautiful. It was a very modern city. The Mexican authorities treated us almost like royalty.
Clean? Was it clean?
It was very clean, but I was also in a posh area.
Right.
We were in a hotel where I ran into Wick, the owner of the Boston Celtics.
Oh, no kidding. I know who that is.
So think about, this is a pretty nice area. We go out for...
Right, if he's there.
Yeah. So we go out for a walk. We're going to get some Mexican food and some drinks. And there was a federal police officer at every single street corner for as far as the eye could see.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, when I saw on Facebook, you had put up a few pictures where you guys seem to be moving pretty fast. Like how as you got in there and started working, how far did you get close to the Mexican cartel?
Yeah, so for Pete's fandom out there, Pete and I are friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm very selective, you know.
You are, and I appreciate that.
Every once in a while, I'll go on. Well, I got burnt once, but every once in a while, I go in there and I'll wipe people out. But
yeah, I don't yeah, because that's why I don't bother you.
yeah, no. You can, well, yeah, just don't do me dirty. So, but you know, I was on Facebook one time, and I was, you know, I wrote something very personal but very political. I shouldn't have done it, because somebody leaked it to the media before
I
you know
remember
it.
that,
It was
yeah.
on the front page of Union Leader.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I got to get rid of some of these folks, and I jettisoned some of them.
Yeah.
But to your question, were we moving fast? Yeah. So what I had done to kind of, you know, show the experience, because I'm going to put together a presentation that I'm going to show to headquarters in Washington D.C. From the Marshal Service, as I took a bunch of little videos, little vignettes, and I took a video of us going down this street in the heart of the Sinaloa cartel area. And as we're driving, I just, you know, hit my video, and it shows, like, you know, just how depraved that area is, how depressed it is, how poor it is, right? And how remote it is.
Yeah, it seemed like you were in the middle of nowhere.
And the reason we were going fast is because we had 6 armored vans, you know, great views, because it was all window, but it was armored, which makes no sense to me, right? Don't worry, guys, they're armored. But we had about 100 Mexican military, Mexican Marines, Sinaloa state police officers, and a few federales, literally with 50 caliber machine guns mounted on the back of pickup trucks. And the faster we went, the less there is of a chance of, you know, being encountered by the adversary.
Right.
You know, I felt completely safe. So we leave Mexico City. We get on a Marine Corps
May I ask,
airplane.
were you packing or?
No, we weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
But you know, that's okay. I mean, I felt safe. So, you know, I'm in the van, and I'm like saying how cool this is. You know, we get in a military airplane, you know, the prop airplane. Yeah. I'm sitting next to a Mexican Marine. Kid must have been 26. So I asked him if he spoke English. He's looking at me like deer in the headlights. He says no. Yeah. So I jumped on my phone. I did the translate. You know, so I said, you know, my name is Nick. I'm a U.S. Marshal. Took my creds out, showed him the badge. He's like, wow. He's like touching. He opened my creds, and he was great. Well, he texts me and says he's never met a gringo in his entire life.
Wow.
Imagine that. He says he's never met a gringo. That's how he wrote it, too, by the way.
Yeah. Really?
And I said, I prefer to be called an Americano.
Right.
And he laughed, and we actually exchanged addresses. I'm gonna write him a little note when I, at some point, when I find the time.
What a great idea! You know, I always crap all over the cell phone, but there's another great example of why it's
right.
useful.
I wouldn't have thought of it.
I know. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Carol, do you have any questions for Nick?
Well, I mean, I was thinking when you were saying about the transport of drugs in agricultural trucks. You know, I mean, the impression that I've gotten from listening to the discussion of the border wall is that, you know, it's coming, drugs are coming through, you know, from immigrants or something. People are bringing drugs over. That's why we need a wall. But you're saying they're being driven over roads right into the United States.
Yeah,
that's just one avenue.
Yeah, it's one of many ways. They expect to take a 15% loss in everything they send over to the country. So they anticipate, you know, that some of their drugs are going to be seized. You know, they do tunnels, they do submarines, they do airplanes, they do trucking. You know, they do use the immigration angle as well. But the immigration and the Mexican authorities touch on that as well. These people are being trafficked. It's not necessarily about the drugs. So what will happen is you will have somebody that agrees to the cartel. I'll pay you, I don't know, 5,000 pesos or, you know, 2,000 American to get me to America. So then they don't give him any money up front. They then bring him across the border to what they call a stash house. So you might have, you know, 100 people in this place that's designed for maybe, you know, 20. And then they double down and say, no, it's not 2,000 anymore. We incurred more costs. It's now going to cost you 4,000.
Yeah.
The people that you know pay the 4,000, they're kicked loose. Now this is information coming from the Mexican authorities, not from Americans. They kick those loose. Those who can't make the payment, they're held in that stash house until their family gets the money to the cartel back home. So they could be there indefinitely. And then when you see some of these deaths, it's because, you know, they're not having food, they're not having water, they dehydrate, they succumb to the heat. To the cartel, the people that they're, you know, bringing across the border, to them, they're just a commodity, just like the drugs are. They expect a certain number of loss. And to hear that from the Mexican authorities themselves was just astounding to me. You know, and we had one particular sheriff from Maryland, really, really outspoken, and he challenged them. He says, well, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
You know, and it was right after the president said, you know, about tariffs.
Right.
So
you were there when that, like, that was hot.
When that whole thing was hot. In fact, the regional director from the DEA told us that a high-level person, I won't say the agency, considered not meeting with us because they were so upset at this whole tariff angle.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, so we're going to get caught in the
political.
Right.
when we're really down there to be educated.
Right.
Sure. And now, you know, being from, you know, law enforcement up here in New Hampshire, where you say all these drugs from Mexico end up here as their final stop or whatever, you've seen it from both sides now.
Yeah, so, you know, so you saw that video of us going down the street in Sinaloa.
I'm not going to lie. I was kind of worried about you.
Really?
Yeah, I was like that, you know.
I wasn't.
It's my friend.
It was awesome. It was one of the most amazing things, but I felt safe. But, you know, when we turned off this long dirt road by these cornfields and there's like, you know, all these cattle, I mean, they were like skinny and weak. They were not like our cattle,
right?
You know. So then they bring us into this jungle and they bring us to a meth lab in the middle of the jungle. The meth lab, they have 3 people that work there for 1,500 pesos a day, which is about $80. They live there 24 hours a day for 15 days. They had little tents that they sleep in, and they do nothing but manufacture methamphetamine.
They're chemists, though, right? Sorry, Peter.
No. See, the chemists tell them how to do it, right? So the chemists come up with the recipe. These are just people like me and you trying to earn a buck, or you're in debt to the cartel, right?
Yeah, sure.
Or if you don't work for me, we're gonna kill your family.
So you come up upon this meth lab in the middle of the jungle, and and there's nothing as far as the military or can do about it.
Well, they did do about it, right? So they wanted to show us that they shut this particular place down.
Okay.
So when we asked them, well, you know, how did you shut it down? They said, well, we got intel from American DEA, so they're down there really, really doing the job. And I can't praise them enough that we have, you know, DEA in Mexico who coming up with intel, sharing it with trusted Mexicans because there's a lot of corruption. So I keep going off stray here, but the DEA has a program where they identify law enforcement that they vet through like a top secret clearance. Then they bring them to Quantico, Virginia. They train them at the DEA training facility. So now they have that American knowledge, that American training experience, and then they work together. And this is a perfect example of them shutting down a lab. That lab was producing 8 tons of methamphetamines every 3 days.
Wow.
8 tons every 3 days.
What's methamphetamines?
Methamphetamine it's a synthetic stimulant, highly addictive. The issue with methamphetamines is it makes people kind of go in an outwardly state, and often it's violent. So
meth. You're saying methamphetamines is meth
on the street. It's, I believe on the street it's on crystal meth.
Crystal meth.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about there. People become superhuman.
You know, it's funny. You know, I went to the FBI National Academy, so I knew cops from all over the world, and you know, we became national news about our heroin epidemic, right, during the primary. Mm-hmm. So I was getting emails and phone calls from my brothers and sisters, particularly in the West Coast, and they say, you know, I think it's terrible what you're experiencing because you're having deaths. He goes, but please pray you don't get meth because you're going to see violence that you've never seen before, like they've experienced out there, you know.
It's just so crazy.
It was insane. So we're there, and one thing I noticed, we're surrounded by cops and Mexican Marines, these belt-fed machine guns, these giant Bearcats. I mean, they had surrounded us to make sure that we were safe. And as I started looking around, I actually noticed how tense a lot because it was super hot, and you saw the pictures. They were geared up; you couldn't see their faces.
Yeah.
So they would start taking off their things just to cool off a little bit, and you can see how pensive they were, how nervous they were. And I'm thinking, wow, to have this much security here, this much firepower, and still see, that uncertainty in their eyes, like something's going to happen.
Because I'm sure they've seen things before.
That was about the only time, and plus they understand that area. It's literally controlled by the cartel.
Wow.
We saw a video of the cartels doing a roadblock. So you had cartel members, with machine guns machine guns. That's so silly. That's what people think of it as,
right?
But with semi-automatic weapons, automatic weapons, and they had a V roadblock, and must have been 100 of them. Well, one of the things that we were shown was because the Mexican authorities were trying to show us how dangerous it is for them. They showed a federal police cruiser pull up and stop at the roadblock that's being held by criminals. You see the two federales get out of the vehicle, stand off to the side while they search the vehicle. Wow. They put them back in the vehicle and leave. So what does that tell you? The
tells you they're in control.
Literally is in control. And there's several pockets in Mexico that are like that, where it's being held by different cartels.
Were they open to you guys about the in-house corruption that is going on? Or
yeah,
were they honest about that?
Great question, because one of the briefings we got was from a colonel in the military who just got. So the new president comes in. He wiped out all the brass of the federal police, took military professionals like this particular colonel. So this gentleman was a colonel in the Army, and he was the newly appointed chief of police for the Sinaloa State Police. And then he went in and he wiped out almost half the Sinaloa State Police.
Wow.
So they're making an effort, and they were very honest about the corruption. Very honest.
Yeah, wow. And going back to the crystal meth, we've heard recently, within weeks in the news here, that it's here. It's here now.
It's definitely here. And the Mexican cartels are competing with the Las Vegas group. That they're the ones that initially we were seeing all the meth coming from Vegas, usually through DHL or some sort of mail thing. Now we're seeing it come up in the traditional heroin routes up through New Jersey to Lawrence and onto the streets of Manchester. But let me tell you, the Sinaloa cartel, they were talking about, how they do research and development, right? So they want to have the best meth they can, but they're also looking at trends in the United States, and that's how heroin switched to fentanyl. There was a need for pain medication in America because we loved it. When the United States started cracking down on it, let's put the heroin out. Well, now we have this new synthetic way called fentanyl. We can now do this. It's cheaper than heroin, so that you saw a switch. And this is a business model by the cartels. I mean, it's a $500 billion industry.
They're not idiots, that's for sure.
So what they're doing now, so meth is on the rise. They see the Northeast, people are trying to switch off, so let's give them something. But what you're going to see next, my prediction, is as they're doing their research and development, as the pharmaceutical companies are being taken to task, as doctors are starting to change their prescribing habits, while your med schools are now talking about addiction and pain management and all that stuff, the cartel is now looking to make synthetic fentanyl pills, which is like almost like an OxyContin. So they're going to put, these synthetic pills that pretty much have, that'll fill that pill void that you just had.
Yeah.
And when you think about how they view things, it's actually quite brilliant. They're not stupid, and I think we don't give them enough credit. As we're working on our habits and changing things for what we hope is the better, I think we also need to have an eye towards, now, how are they going to respond as opposed to reacting to it? So how do we get ahead?
So being ahead, yeah.
How do we get ahead of it? And it's way above my pay grade. I mean, this is for like think tanks of people that are brilliant. But I think we need to change the way we do business. That when we're fighting against something, we're fighting against opioids, and then they're going to switch to crystal meth. Be prepared for that switch, and how do we navigate it as a country? What's going to happen is we're going to go through a meth thing now, and then we're going to go through a fentanyl pill thing. I mean, I think that's what's going to happen.
Wow.
I kind of think, Chief, why are people taking these drugs is kind of where I think we got to put some more focus on.
Well, you know what it is? I think he kind of mentioned a little bit about, because you've been to the doctors before where, you bruise yourself or something, they're going to give you a bottle of Vicodin 10 years ago.
Right.
They'll give you a bottle of Vicodin.
Yeah.
Now, I've recently had a procedure within the past 2 years, and they didn't give me anything. They gave me some strong Tylenol.
Yeah.
So you're correct about doctors, not prescribing these as much anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the trend. The question as to why, man, I think that's probably the most difficult thing to I think the pain management, right? Doctors were being graded on these little surveys about, how your pain was. So you get a tooth extraction and you get 30 Percocets. And more people than not are, well, I shouldn't say more, but many people are predisposed to addiction. So when you just give them 30 pills so they don't come back, and then when they do the little survey, that the doctors are graded on, that their pain management was great, well, yeah, they're walking around loopy for X amount of days, you know?
Yeah. Fantastic. And you know what? Carol's been hanging on the line for almost a half hour. I'm going to let Carol get at you for a few minutes.
No, that's quite all right. I'm good.
Did I put you on the spot? But how interesting is this, Carol?
Yeah, I mean, it's a puzzle. I'm probably just puzzled by the whole how we've gotten here from where things used to be. That I don't watch a lot of movies, but I've seen plenty of movies involving drugs and all the corruption around it on both sides. Really, it's a lot of money and a lot of greed and a lot of profiteering, and we're all just kind of caught up in it as citizens. I don't really know what the answers are, but I know whatever it is we're doing, I don't know that we're making a lot of headway.
No, and that was going to be my next question with you, Nick, is do you see as a U.S. Marshal or being in law enforcement, as long as you have a light at the end of the tunnel with this problem?
No, not yet.
No?
I really don't. I think, we have to shrink the addiction pool, right? So like I said earlier, our issue with Mexico when it comes to the drugs is the amount of drugs they're putting on our streets. But they're putting them on our streets because we desire them.
Right.
I think
supply and demand.
That's the most difficult thing to address. But as this is happening again, I can't say it enough. The amount of firearms, particularly New Hampshire firearms, that are being put on the streets of Mexico is astounding. It truly is astounding.
Are we giving it to the right people at least, or
no? This is all illicit. This is
right.
These are drug dealers getting guns so they can protect their.
Where's the security breach there? Like how? I mean, you can't just grab a bunch of guns and send them to Mexico. How are the guns not more secure? Where are they getting stolen from warehouses? Is there corruption at that level? How are they getting so many guns?
So they're
highly regulated.
Just like the drug routes that we had talked about before, Carol. All different ways. From you have the Mexican cartel doesn't come and physically sell the drugs in America anymore. They leave that to the Dominicans, right? So they give Dominicans marching orders. So the way it works is this: the Mexicans, the Sinaloa cartel will call the Dominican Republican cartel and say, I need 3 people to go to Lawrence, Massachusetts at this address to mix the fentanyl that I'm putting up there until it's done and then fly back. And then they keep doing this. Well, sometimes the orders will be get as many guns as you can in lieu of money. So they will put out, we're selling out of this house. We'd rather have guns than money. And then people will go out and they'll steal guns and do it that way. They may do it through straw purchases. So I know Matt Botter, a Manchester detective working with the DEA, had a woman who did 200 straw purchases where she bought firearms, and all those firearms obviously went to a drug dealer and ultimately we're assuming to Mexico. And then there are other ways where you're right. They will actually, break into a warehouse or a place where guns are being sold, and they bring them back over to Mexico.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is just.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough tough to grasp.
And I think being in Mexico and seeing it on the ground, it was. I mean, I thought I knew what was going on because I've been to all these briefings and, but to actually see it on the ground, it is far more complex than I ever could have thought of.
Wow.
So I'm just getting into this conversation. But
well, let me introduce you first. We have Mayor Joyce Craig has joined us now.
And it's great to be here with all of you.
Thank
but
you.
I was
Good morning.
with John Delana on Monday, I think, and he was talking about the experience. And I have to say that I really appreciate that you all did go there. So you are, you have seen firsthand what's going on, because it's important, right, for our state to understand exactly what's going on there, and now you can bring that experience back to help us.
And the the cooperation between countries, right? So Colombia used to be the premier drug cartel in the world. All they do now is they supply the Mexican cartels with precursors and things like that. So their hands are now.
What's that mean? Sorry.
The precursor is, so if you want to make methamphetamines, you need certain chemicals. Yeah. And sometimes they're really difficult to get. But the Colombians are good at getting them. So now they get them, they send them to the cartel in Mexico. So now they can do something almost legally where no one's going to get arrested for selling precursors. And then the Mexicans take it, they manufacture it, they create it, then they ship it to the United States, and then the Dominican Republic cartel comes in, and they're the ones that actually physically sell it on the street. So, the Colombians are limiting their exposure. Mexico's exposure is a little bit greater because, again, they shut down that lab, but to this point, no one's in custody. And then the real risk is the Dominican Republic. So the majority of our extraditions right now are coming out of the Dominican Republic.
All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a little break. Carol, we're going to let you go.
Okay.
Okay, because it looks like someone's calling from your house anyway. So I have a call coming up. We have Mayor Joyce Craig here. We got my co-host Matt Courchesne, and of course U.S. Marshal Nick Willard. We will be right back. Thank you, Carol Robideau.
Okay.
All right, good morning, everyone. And Carol Robideau, Manchester Inklink, where everything in Manchester connects. You can find out what's going on around town at manchesterinklink.com.
The morning show is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 171 Londonderry Turnpike in Hooksett. They serve all your big and small business needs: employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
Hi from the Peter White Morning Show and all the All-Stars to help out there. Lenny, Scumpy, Abigail White, Laura the Animal Lady, Nick, Mr. Positive, Mike Martineau, Mike Doyle, Brooklyn Mike, The Moose, Glenn Ollett, the People's Mayor, Joe Lard, Daryl Dion, Peter Fleming, Christy Canner, Ryan Gorman, Don T. Tibbetts, Yahoo, Gary T. Tibbetts, Paulie C., The Place to Be, Karen Robideau, Manchester Inkling, John Manning, Ben Dion, Kyle Heavey, Matt Connerton, and Rob Abazita. We all have a lot of fun there. It's all fun. I hope you're listening.
Every day I set my alarm to go up at 7 a.m. I wanna start my day with Peter White on WMNH.
You're listening to Peter White. Call us at 250-6007. It's the morning show.
WMNH 95.3 FM. Good morning, Manchester.
All right, good morning, Manchester. The conversation continues here. I have my co-host, Matt Courchesne. Good morning,
What
Matt.
a morning, Peter, huh?
Crazy. We have 70 degrees in a very humid downtown Manchester. We're going to have overcast skies, little sunshine today, typical summer day in the city. If you're just tuning in, we have U.S. Marshal Nick Willard here. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
And we're very excited to have Mayor of Manchester, Joyce Craig, here. Good morning.
Good morning.
And I do have to take this phone call because this guy's been hanging on. Good morning. You're on the air.
Peter White, good morning. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Who is this?
Yeah, this is Jim Robideau.
Oh, of course. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. One super quick question, and then I'll let the mayor have her turn. But I wanted to pick Nick Willard's brain just for 1 second.
Sure, go ahead.
He talked about meth coming from Vegas, and my quick question is there a connection to those hotels and casinos and all the legal activities to the illegal meth that comes from Vegas?
Oh, that I don't know. I think Vegas is just a convenient area. And I'm not even sure. I think the intel initially was it would come from China into Vegas, and then it would be distributed from Vegas. But I don't know if it has anything to do with the hotels and the gambling industry. I really don't.
Probably not unless you got that one bad seed.
It's a good
right?
question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I just don't know the answer.
All right,
And
Jim.
I appreciate that. Thanks for your time.
All right, Jim. Thanks for calling. Hope everything's well. Jim Robidoux. I knew because I caller ID. I saw. Oh, how could Carol be calling when we have her
Right.
on the phone?
Chief, I got a really important question, and it's something to do with Boston and what's going on. And
Well, I'll decide if it's important. But go ahead.
all right, David Ortiz.
Yes.
Do you believe the story coming out of the Dominican that wasn't him?
Absolutely not.
He wasn't the target.
I don't believe it.
Okay.
I have a hard time believing it too.
And that's Nick's personal opinion. Not,
That's a whole
not
other
the U.S.
story.
Marshal's position.
All right. Well, again, we are very excited to have Mayor Joyce Craig here, who has just announced opened her office for re-election, and I can't believe it's that time already.
I know.
I really can't believe. I mean,
Goes quick.
It does go. It just seems like it just began. So, how are you anyway?
I'm great.
Yeah, very good. And I want to ask you something. I saw something on the news overnight, and it has come to everyone's attention that the Oracle has had some layoffs, and you made a statement about it yesterday. I didn't know if you wanted to say it again, just for us here.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've been so proud of what Dine brought to Manchester, and then when Oracle took them over, and there was a great, huge announcement just over a year ago.
Yeah.
All of the executives from Oracle came into town, basically saying, we're happy to be here, we're growing in Manchester, and now there have been a lot of individuals who have been let go. So it was really disappointing and upsetting to hear. Of course, we all feel for the employees and for their families.
Oh, sure.
And, the city of Manchester and a number of the businesses are there for them. And that's one of the messages we wanted to get out. And a number of businesses have already picked up, these great,
Sure.
talented employees. And that's our hope. We have a thriving business community in Manchester. The industries are growing. And so, our hope is that these employees find better jobs here in our community. And we just want them to know that we're here for them. I personally have gone through a layoff when I worked in Boston at Hill Holiday. We lost the Infinity client, and a number of us were let go. So I know what these employees are going through, and it's really devastating.
Sometimes, typically it happens too, because what started out as Dine, which was a real local,
right,
really super hyper local thing from West High School, Jeremy Hitchcock, right?
Absolutely.
And so Oracle comes in and buys the company. I mean, and that's what happens. And typically, sometimes when these bigger companies come in and grab these individual local companies, there tends to be layoffs and cost cutting and all that.
Yeah, they've been doing it since March worldwide. Oracle
Okay.
has been letting employees go, but it hit hard, here.
Right,
locally.
sure.
So,
but on the other side of things, you have Bay Systems coming in here.
BAE, yep.
Is it Bay? Do you say Bay Systems? Or do you say,
BAE, but you can say Bay.
I'm going to
if
say
you'd like.
Bay. I'm going to start something new.
You are a trendsetter.
Right. Right.
That means something. Kids say Bay. It means something.
See,
I don't know what that kid is, but
Well,
best friends or something,
BAE,
I think.
BAE Systems, but which is formerly Sanders Corporation from
Yes.
way back.
Yes.
So now what's going on with that?
So they're bringing up to 800 new jobs right to Manchester. So that's really, really exciting. We know that Dean Kamen's Army is also hiring. So I think I know there are some great job opportunities for these individuals.
That is great.
And is Oracle doing well? They're just trying to. What's the story? I guess I don't understand.
Well, it's an internet security company, basically, right?
Yes, they have a number of things, but globally, I think what they're doing is looking at their book of business and making changes, and so it affected Manchester, and it's affecting a number of communities throughout the world.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Now let's see what else we had. Now you had a meeting yesterday with Senator. Was it yesterday with Senator Jean Shaheen or the day before?
Monday.
Okay, Monday. Okay.
Yep.
And how did that go? And that had to do with what we've been talking about all morning.
Yeah, I think you probably covered a lot, but she hosted a roundtable at the Manchester Police Department with a number of individuals to talk about fentanyl and other drug-related issues that Manchester and the state are encountering, and wanted to hear, which I appreciate firsthand, what our first responders are encountering on the street. So she can utilize that information and bring it back to Washington and hopefully affect policy and get some more funding, because that's definitely needed.
That's great. And by the way, I want to say also, if you've noticed, you're downtown all the time, the community policing.
Amazing.
It is. Have you noticed a difference as far as? I mean, I really have, and I'm not just saying this. I mean, how many times were you down here, Matt, and you get approached for whatever from a homeless person, whether you have any money or whatever?
It's all the time. It's all the time.
But I haven't. It hasn't been happening to me though.
So I guess there's something there. The police officers downtown have made a tremendous impact, not only from a safety perspective, but they're building relationships with residents in the downtown and visitors and businesses. They're not going to stop someone from asking someone for money, though.
Right.
They can't
But
be everywhere. But when someone is breaking the law or doing anything that they shouldn't be, they're there and they're addressing the situation right away.
What I've seen, actually, and they cannot stop people from asking for money, but it seems like with the police down here, they don't come around. They're on the sidelines somewhere. I'm not seeing that what I saw before, where you go outside of any business, choose a business here on Elm Street where they're sitting against the wall. You know what I mean? They're just parked there for the day.
Right.
And I'm not seeing that as much, and I think that's a great thing.
And I think the businesses downtown are stepping up too, right? They understand that they have a role in this. So together, the businesses with the police officers are making an impact. They shouldn't, people can't lean against a building if the business owner doesn't want them to do that. So it's the working together that's been really helpful.
Sure.
With the community policing, is that a certain set of time, or could we get community policing maybe in March? Because it seems like this all came up, right? It all comes down to money, I'm sure.
It does.
Yeah.
So in the summer, it's easier because our SRO officer, the officers that are in the schools are not needed.
Okay.
So we deploy those resources to a certain extent downtown. If we want to continue with this throughout the year, we're going to have to look at our budget and potentially make some adjustments and possibly add funding to the police department's budget if that's the need of the community and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Best school resource officer I've ever seen is Kevin Bernard. I don't know if you know who he is.
They're all great.
I'm sure they are.
But
he's special.
Okay, very good.
He's special.
Special?
He is.
So now, Mayor, you're coming up on re-election. Let's reflect on the past 2 years. How would you sum up your almost first 2 years as mayor? I know you were an alderman, you were on the school board, you know your stuff, but how's it feel as far as the past 2 years go?
It feels great. This is a dream job for me. It's the community I grew up in. It's the community I'm raising my family in, and I get to go to work every day, to work with the community to make the city stronger. So I absolutely love it. And I really feel like we've been able to make a difference in a short period of time. And it's not just me, but it's me and others working with individuals and nonprofits and businesses in the community, again, to make a change and make things better in the city. So, we have our challenges, certainly, but we have great things going on in the city. But we've been able to address some of those challenges head on. But we need to continue to work hard on those, and that's why I'm running again.
That is great. That is, I think, a lot of people talk about, and let me ask you how you feel, but a lot of people talk about, is 2 years enough time before you have to start focusing on re-election?
So if I were to suggest what this position should have, I would suggest 4-year term with a 2-term limit. So right now it's 2-year terms with unlimited, you can run forever. But it is difficult in 2 years or less than a year, basically, right? Year and a half, and then you're running again. In Nashua, that mayor has a 4-year term, so it's not something that's out of the ordinary.
Okay,
that would be my suggestion. But
I would imagine a lot of cities it's 4 years.
Yeah, it is. Not in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
But the Bloomberg Harvard program that I participated in with 39 other mayors from around the world. I think there were 2 of us that had 2-year terms. Otherwise, it was 4-year terms. So that is the norm.
All right, we got a call here. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Peter, and good morning to all your guests, Nick, Mayor, and Matt. Scary down from Florida.
This is Gary Tibbetts, retired Manchester Police Department.
What's going on, Sarge?
Good morning.
Hey, Chief, how are you, sir?
Very well.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Mayor. Always nice to meet you over the phone. I know your, I believe, granddad very, very well.
Well, he'll love to hear that. It's my father-in-law.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're talking about.
I can't wait to tell
You're talking about the great Louis Craig.
Yeah, Louis Craig. He was my chief for a number of years.
Wow.
Great.
He is.
Now, Gary, let me ask you this: like, you see, you're down in Florida and stuff, but you pay attention to all the law enforcement stuff. Let me ask you: you've been out of the game for as far 20, 25 years?
20 years. I've been retired this month. Yeah.
Okay, so 20 years. Let me ask you this: what do you think? What do you think as someone that retired then, and do you see what's different now? Like, I don't know. What do you think what was the biggest thing 20 years ago that was dealing with crime and being an officer?
I can tell you that when I was exiting, it was like in the last probably 10 years of my career, it was drugs. It was cocaine. It was meth at that time. I saw our SWAT team go from 5 people to 30 people.
Wow.
And it went from doing a search warrant, knocking on a door, to the SWAT teams going to every search warrant and taking the door down and mostly forcible entries. I do see. I can tell you, being down here in Florida, I see the same thing that's happening in Manchester, and I hope, Mayor, that the senator comes back with some funding for you. I know that here in our district here, our congressman has brought funding back, and here locally, even the hospitals have gotten involved community-wise with alternative pain medications. They have a bunch of programs together. Nonprofits have jumped in, and I see that you guys are doing it, and it's just a process, and it's working here. So I just want to let you know that it can, and the funds can come from Washington for sure.
And thank you. And we have gotten or the state has gotten funds from Washington. One of the challenges that we have in Manchester is that, being the largest city in the state, we have specific and unique needs. And sometimes the state doesn't understand or appreciate, so we don't get the amount of money that we need to effectively fight this issue when we are getting the majority of people looking for help as well.
And sometimes I think we're the victim of our own success.
Absolutely.
I think this is an incredibly connected community, particularly when you talk to your political leadership, and then you talk about your department heads and all the things that they do collectively. I think the state looks at us and like, well, they got it figured out. They don't necessarily need the help, but we're doing it on a shoestring. So we do need help.
And 50% of the people, I'm going to keep on this one, 50% of the people coming into Safe Station are coming from outside of Manchester.
Yeah.
So we are helping
Oh, yeah.
individuals throughout the state.
So
totally understand that.
Meaning more of that federal money should be coming right here to Manchester.
Or opening up, taking our models that are working, ACERT, for example, or the team, the Manchester Mental Health and the police department are working together, taking that model and replicating them throughout the state.
Fantastic. Gary, I want to thank you for giving us a call this morning. Thank you so much.
Great insight, Gary.
It was great seeing you. I'm watching on Facebook. Great everything that
we're losing you, Gary.
Keep that way. All right. Take care.
All right. Gary Tibbetts, Bradenton, Florida, collecting 3 pensions. Very good.
As he hangs up.
Now, did you guys get to work together, or was that time right at your end of your time? Were you coming in, or?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it happened. Yeah. When were you elected?
Us too. I thought you were talking about.
I'm asking you too.
Yeah.
So
when
you guys got to work together.
Yep. As an alderman and then as mayor, and then he left.
Now he was going to Creamland. Where did you take him?
Oh boy! Now that's putting him on the spot. That's putting her on the spot.
Just at the office?
Yes.
You know what? I've seen these two interact. Now, Matt, you were there that night of the fashion show.
Yes.
And the mayor was at the fashion show.
Yeah.
And we had a great time, by the way, backstage.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
you guys looked like you had fun.
Oh my God! It was so much banter in the back and a lot of joking around and it was a lot lot of fun.
How did you guys do with Peter's sweat? He was sweating so bad over there. Were you
just
all
like
right?
today.
It was.
Yeah, I know.
It was hot that night, though.
It was.
What was that? That's the New Hampshire Institute of Art, right?
Yes.
No, there's no air conditioning in there.
Yeah.
And it happened to be a humid night that night. I don't know.
It was hot in there.
Yeah. So Matt comes over to me and says, "Hey, nice job," and puts his hand on my back, and I'm dripping sweat, like my hair is curling up.
Oh yeah, the hair was definitely curling.
But I don't. What was I gonna do? You know what I mean? Did you see me? Did you see that?
Oh, yeah,
to me?
I thought it was gross.
Really? Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the positive.
Right,
It was a
right.
great night for a great cause. A lot of work went into it, and tons of people were there.
Oh, it really was.
really good.
It was a good time. Well, Matt went. You don't usually go to events like that, do you?
It's like, I
Here
like
and
to
there?
go out here and there,
So
my buddy Tyler Sullivan was the MC.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Lauren, so
I will say, I had asked for rainbow wings. We
Yes.
did an angel scene, and I asked for that in honor of my daughter, and I wanted to show her pictures, and she was so excited. So from that, because it made me think, I have to give the mayor a shout out because when you rose the rainbow flag above City Hall, I took a picture of it. I sent it to my daughter, my daughter is gay, and I'm proud of her, intensely proud of her. So to see that flag fly over City Hall, a city that my daughter loves because I love it so much, it actually brought her to tears when I texted to her. So I can't thank you enough as a father for love of his daughter and for what you brought to her heart. So I really do appreciate that.
Oh, that is fantastic. I saw the mayor and her husband Mike on Pride Day over here a couple Saturdays ago. We had a great time at Pride Day.
That was a lot of fun.
So
The
you
block
made
party.
it there?
I did.
Wow,
You
yeah.
had a busy
So we
day
had
that day.
4 graduations that day, and in between 2 of them,
That's right.
we
You
ran
had-
over
That's
there.
what you did?
Graduations, yeah. But it was a really great event. We have a call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kalanzas. What can we do for you?
Well, I just want to say hi to everybody there.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody. Chief, nice seeing you on there. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Chuck, what kind of connection do we have? Are you using a Progresso soup can to call us?
You know, I'm old-fashioned. I still have a football, so
Okay.
I have to deal with it. Listen, I just wanted to call and say, listen to the mayor. What she's done is unbelievable. Downtown has developed so good. The problems that arise with the homeless and the drugs and all that, it's gotten so much better in the last 3 or 4 months. As a business owner, the police that are strolling down there and they communicate with the business leaders and the business owners, and I think we formed something that we're all working together. And I think it takes a lot of teamwork. Like in any sport or anything, teamwork is very important. Doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever. We're human beings. We work hard down there. The city is going in a good direction as far as that. If everybody continues to work like that, I think we got never mind a home run. It's going to be amazing down. And
Right.
it is. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that's doing it. Mayor, continue, and we'll all be there for you. Peter, you do a great job there. Keep it going.
All right, Chuck.
Keith, you're amazing. Bye.
All right. Chuck Kalanzas, everyone, owner of business owner right here down on Elm Street, Panucci's, has a block party every Sunday. Close the street, listen to some local music. Good stuff.
So one of the things that he said though is so key to this, right? It's the communication, it's the working together, and Chuck isn't shy, right? So when there's an issue, we hear about it. But I appreciate that because if we don't know, we can't address the issue. So I appreciate how forthright he is, and his partnership in addressing the issues that we've been encountering. So, I was walking downtown yesterday on my way to the Red Arrow. We were celebrating a server who has been serving for 25 years.
That's right.
And he shouted out at me, and it's like it's great to be downtown and have relationships with people.
Oh, I agree. We're still, we're a small city, but we also it's almost like, it hasn't changed that much from when I was a kid, other than, there's different kinds of problems that we were facing, 30 years, 40 years ago. But, I still get that sense of community here, and that we all kind of, when it comes down to it, we all work together to figure it out.
Yeah, and then I'm not sure if you all have seen it, but if you haven't, take a peek. There's some short video clips that Manchester Police Department has been putting out on the walking beat downtown. And I think they sent one out yesterday, and Chuck is actually in it, talking about the positive impact that they've had on downtown. So I appreciate that.
Like I said, I've been talking about it all week. The community policing down here, And I shared the police departments on our page, so you can go take a look at it anytime today on Facebook.
I think it's nice that, when everybody agrees on something, I think maybe that's where we start is instead of what we disagree on, how about what we agree on and go from there and see if we can build from there.
Right.
So
and
it's good to
understand that
see
things
that's
take
happening.
time, right?
Yeah, sure.
Things take time, but as long as we're all, rowing in the same direction and trying to address the issue that we believe in, then we're going to make progress.
All right. Well, listen, I know you have a busy day. I know you got to get off to work. So
can I ask a quick question?
You sure can, Matt. What do you got?
Humanize it.
Right.
What is Mayor Craig like in her sweatpants at home, just relaxing?
Okay, now that's creepy. Now that's creepy.
No, that's not being creepy, is it?
What do you mean what I'm like? The short period of time that I'm at home, I love sitting on my couch.
You like to read. Just what's your show? I don't know. It's the same for you, Chief. You guys, you went into something that you can't understand until you like being a parent. I didn't know what it was like till you actually are in it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
in the summertime, if I can sit outside with my husband and just relax and talk and catch up, it's wonderful. Glass of Chardonnay is always a bonus.
Yeah.
But we actually haven't been home together much, so it's that time. It's quality time when I am.
So how do you do that? Right? As I'm a young father with a significant other, and
it's sitting around the kitchen table. It's sitting in the living room, outside, getting fresh air, walking our dog in the neighborhood.
So keep it simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I want to say thank you for dropping by. You are always welcome, Mayor, here on the morning show. And good luck on your re-election campaign. And thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
And what can I say about you, Nick? I mean, thank you. You know what? We got time for one more call?
Sure.
All right. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, all. Hey, Mayor, thanks for coming on this morning. It's nice to hear your voice, and Chief.
It's Mike Doyle.
Quick question. And I'm wondering about the school system, the schools, and the contract issue. I know it's a tough situation, but from my personal involvement, from having somebody in the system that works for the system, the general consensus from the outside is that the city doesn't care, and I know that's not the case. But how can we resolve, shutting a door, getting in a room and saying, this is ridiculous, let's figure this out, instead of these teachers not having a contract? Because the biggest problem is all the stuff you've been talking about this morning as far as drugs and transients and cop presence and everything. A lot of this is starting, the teachers are almost the front line to children who are coming to school with grandparents are bringing them to school. There's a reason for that. You know what I mean? Dad's either in jail or mom's didn't have a good night because she was doing something that probably isn't the right thing to do.
That's a great point.
Things like that. And so somehow we've got to give the teachers a little more pat on the back and a little more appreciation. And one way would be to solve this contract issue that's gone on over a year now.
Sure.
I'm just wondering what your thoughts are.
Mike, I'm gonna let her respond, and I'm gonna let you go.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for
Great
calling,
point, Mike. Great point.
Mike Doyle, everybody.
There's tons of grandparents raising the kids.
Yeah, Mike, you raised a number of good points, and I want to thank you for bringing this up. It has been too long that the teachers have been out of a contract, and there's been a lot of frustration on both sides, and it's played out in public. And it is time to really, buckle down and get a contract done. There was a fact finder's report done to try to bring resolution to this. He identified 4 issues, and 3 of them were basically addressed in the fact finder report. And certainly it was not perfect, but when it came to a vote at the last school board meeting, Committeeman Long and I voted in favor of that because we do truly believe it has been enough time, and we thought that this may be a good way forward. It was a path forward.
Sure.
Again, not that it was perfect, but the MEA and the school board voted it down, so now they're getting back to the table. They could pick up where they were, or they could start from ground zero. But I have consistently been saying we need to work to get a fair and sustainable contract for all of our educators, and now basically every other union within the school district. So there's a negotiation committee that's working on this. I don't have a seat at the table, which is a bit frustrating, but the
Sure.
process is different on the school board than it is on the board of mayor and aldermen. We have been effective in terms of working through contracts on the city side, and it's been a frustrating process on the school district side. The budget that I presented this fiscal year put $4.5 million more to the school district. It's the most that's been given in 14 years. And so, you know, I'm there and I'm trying to do everything that I possibly can to make sure that we have a fair and sustainable contract for educators and other unions within the district. It's critically important. And we have a new superintendent starting in a few days. We have school starting in September. And I truly believe there's a cost that you can't quantify when our employees don't have contracts, and it's affecting, student achievement.
Very good and very, very well said.
That extra $4 million that was in your budget, was that in hopes of getting the teacher's contract resolved?
So it was an extra $4 million. It could have addressed contracts. It could have addressed technology. And then the Board of Mayor and Aldermen approved a budget that provided another $2+ million to the district, which meant that it could accomplish both.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are going to take a little break again. I want to thank you. Oh, you got one more thing for you?
Before, I need to remind you about the Gail Singer blood drive.
Oh, are we doing that this year?
We are. August 27th and 28th.
So you
tell me when you're going, and I'm going to go with you and hold your hand.
Okay, I promised you last year, because last year I kind of snuck out.
Shocking.
Okay, you're on. That's definite, and we'll when that comes around.
And you guys too.
All right.
I'll be there.
All right, Nick, I want to thank you for hanging out with us this morning also, and I want to thank you for everything you've done for this city, and I wish you everything on your new venture. It's almost been a year now as U.S. Marshal.
Yeah, July 1st will be 1 year that I've retired. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
It's great to have you back in Manchester.
It's great to be here.
What's your location like? Sorry, Peter.
It's the whole state.
Your jurisdiction, I guess.
The entire state of New Hampshire. I will say I've been putting a lot of resources in the North Country, so those police departments north of the Notch.
Yeah, right.
They're dealing with the same type of stuff, and they have some really bad characters, so... You know, here we have SWAT teams to take doors down. In fact, Mayor Craig's actually been on a drug raid. It was really cool. When I was chief anyways, I hope you've done it again. But, the North Country, they literally have two-man departments, and they have drug houses and they have drug dealers. So what we've been doing is once there's a warrant put out, they reach out to my office, and we'll send 8 deputies and our task force officers, and we'll go up there. We'll meet with the local law enforcement. We'll game plan, and then we'll make essentially a dynamic arrest. Using our resources. So a 2-man department now becomes 10, and that's what we do for a living, is we go in and we catch fugitives.
And that's what they need, obviously.
Exactly right. So, I do still have a footprint in Manchester without question. We were here the other day, actually in the command post when they arrested that murder suspect out of Lawrence. So my entire team was down here. I got great accolades from Chief Capano yesterday, as a matter of fact, because I hadn't had a chance to talk to him. So he was, so we're still here. I'm not going anywhere. I love Manchester. It's in my soul. It'll always be in my soul. As far as downtown, I was here Friday night having dinner. I was here Saturday night having dinner. Then went to the Josh Groban concert, and then went out afterwards.
Went to the Josh Groban
It was
concert.
Fantastic, and downtown was thriving. It was amazing.
It really is.
So it's the things that are being done. It's just incredible to see. I'm just so happy to be a part of it.
All right. Again, well, thank you. Again, I can't thank you enough for your service and everything you do.
Thank you.
And and you'll be back. You got to come back sometime before the end of the summer.
Oh, of course, I will be.
All right.
And finish. There's a lot more to talk about, to be honest with you.
No kidding.
Yeah, there is. But I'm downtown all the time when I'm not working. This is my city. I'm always down here.
Well, the first time you came on, the first time you came on the show, this is how I kind of introduced you, because I really feel like this song kind of captures that law enforcement thing. But again, thank both of you, Mayor Joyce Craig, U.S. Marshal Nick Willard. We will be back. The morning show will continue in just a moment.
Thank you.
You're listening to Peter White. Call us at 250-6007. It's the morning show.
Good morning, Manchester. Here's Peter White.
Wow, it's hump day, everyone. What a morning.
Oh, holy moly.
What a morning. And yesterday, Matt and I talked to each other because I knew Matt was going to be co-hosting today. And we're like, well, what are we going to do? What do you want to talk about? And you know what? We don't have to worry about that.
I couldn't have picked a better day to come on in here.
Wow,
what
no
a
kidding.
day. I mean, the two high-profile guests here in the city of Manchester.
Yep, a lot of great stuff. A lot of great stuff going on around the city. I'm telling you, that Nick Willard, what a great guy.
You really like him.
I really like him because when I talk to him, I've talked to him out of the professional. I've seen him downtown before,
Yeah, right.
and you know what? You almost forget that he was the chief of police,
right?
Or U.S. Marshal, and then you're thinking, I mean, how big a job is that being a U.S. Marshal? I mean, that's huge.
I agree, and he handles it perfectly. He
really does.
It's what it comes down to, Peter, and everything that we're fighting for. Not to get back in the hope thing, but good people.
Right.
That's all you need. Good people, and he's a good man.
Good people
Mayor
that are
Craig
willing.
is a good person. You know what I mean? Like
good people that are willing to work together and compromise, no matter what your party affiliation is.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how you make the community stronger.
I think we're at a point where we just got to do it, and I think the adults are realizing that, and there's just so much to do. And this whole Manchester First thing, Manchester First being the first safe stations, you know, there's a couple other examples that aren't coming to my head, but why not be the first that we're just a community that just works together and it's all about doing the right thing? For me, it's simple. Take care of the young people, take care of the old people. And why don't we just start there, And I think that's something that we can all agree on. And because I see as a guy who really didn't fully understand till he was in his 30s, what was really going on and paying attention, to be honest with you.
Sure. Same here. Because both of us have grown up in this community. Both of us have been here since, do you remember being a little boy and just like, I don't know, just being downtown here and say with someone, an adult or whatever, you're like, wow, this is where I live.
Yeah, I've always taken pride in it. One of my favorite views is when you're coming over back to the east side at the bridge there by the Amoskeag Fishway.
I agree.
And you go over and you look, and there's the river, and there's, it's appreciation. And I think we're losing that a lot more here, and not just in Manchester, but in society in general,
Right. Have a sense of, it's great to have that sense of pride from your hometown. Or, and even if you're not a native of Manchester, New Hampshire, us as natives should be welcoming. We would want other people to come to our community.
It's like the chief, right? I don't think he was born in Manchester, but he just said he loves Manchester. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's where his heart is, and
he has a very great, I don't know how familiar you are. I've had him on the show a few times, but he has a very great story about being in a large family, and it's really great.
And that's there's another thing of being aware is everybody has those stories and those difficulties that you got to overcome. And
sure,
it's amazing. Like, when you and Daryl came to check out the class, there was Daryl opening up with these kids about what he's gone through, and honesty. It just, I don't know. I preach enough, and today's not the day to be preaching. But
well, speaking of Daryl Dion,
how's he doing?
Well, I think he's probably being operated on right now.
Oh God.
He's getting some work done on a procedure on his shoulder. I talked to him last night. I wished him the best, and I will have an update for you sometime.
I think a lot of people want to hear that update
tomorrow
too.
or Friday. I think he's going to be fine, and I know that he's very, very anxious to get back on the air.
He loves it.
Oh, it's great.
I was listening the other day, and you guys were talking, and it was like you're not even it's like you're not even working. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like it is. It's a great thing. As you know, I love doing this radio thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And having people like you and the mayor and Nick Willard, just to be part of it all. To bring this community kind of together. Everyone's welcome on the show. You know what I mean? Just get with me if you want to come on and shoot the breeze. Doesn't even matter. Come on.
Right, that open door policy.
Yeah, well, check with me first.
Yeah.
Because then otherwise,
Well, but you always do that, though, you know, and
Yeah.
and I appreciate that you try to keep it light and try to. I think that's, like I said, you caught on to something, and you caught on to it early. I think you might have seen a response with the Amsterdam show, you know, where you people might be like, "Hey, Pete, I saw you on that show," and it just kind of grew, and
Right.
you know, you scaled back a little bit. You took it a little more seriously, right? That was more for fun, to hang out, and
That's what it was.
you know what I mean.
That's really
Shoot
what
the
that
breeze
was.
with your buddies, and
But in all seriousness, when you know I got the go ahead to do this, you know, I don't know if I've told the story on the radio, but speaking of that old TV show Amsterdam,
Sure.
which was a cable access show like
Yeah.
your other shows on Channel 23
Yeah.
Here in the city, I can tell this story. Jason Cody, the executive director here,
Yep.
Someone pitched my name and said, "Hey, you know, because the radio station was starting." And
yeah,
so,
they were looking for somebody to,
you know, just have a morning show
Sure,
or whatever.
yep.
And here's the thing. I saw the radio station during those times on that TV show, the radio station being built.
Yep.
And one day I saw the decal, the 95.3 WMNH, and I remember looking at it one night and thinking, they'll never let me do that.
Yep.
Because of that TV, because our TV show is kind of outrageous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a lot of fun, but it was a late night fun show. You
Yeah,
know what
I
mean?
learned that firsthand when I went on Mr. Serious, and I got in there.
right. And I didn't know Jason Cody because, you know, I just didn't know him. We
Right.
were on late at night. He was at home, and
Yep.
so he wasn't too keen on me doing the show.
Yep.
Just from what he had heard, or
Sure,
some,
what he saw,
some
or- yep.
some complaints from that we got on that TV show, and you know, I kind of had to pitch myself. I'm like, listen, I take this very seriously. I will be there every day, and you know, I was on Joel and I, the Moose, we're on like a 3-month trial for a little while just
Yep.
to see how it was going to go, it
Sure.
was going to go. And I don't know, I remember sitting in here one day doing my work or whatever, and Jason comes in, who I know great, you know, who I know now
Yep.
is a great director here and is great to work for. And he says, you know what? He says, I am usually a great judge of character.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell, this guy, whatever. But he goes, I was wrong about you, and I want to thank you for coming in here every morning. I remember him telling me, we were having a big snowstorm. He goes, oh, you don't have to come in the morning. I'm like, oh, don't worry, I'll be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. So that's how, and I do take it very seriously. Hey, you know, I bit Eric's head off a little bit this morning. I have my days.
Yeah, of course.
You know, because I'm doing this every single day, and I try to make it a little more enjoyable, or try to make it just a little bit different each day.
Yep.
And I mean, I appreciate everyone that comes on, the guests, the co-host, and believe it, you know, everybody, Eric, Scumpy.
You got a good 12 to 15 people who are really invested in the show.
And I appreciate it.
Yep.
You know, I really appreciate each and every one. So
And then your loyal listeners on Facebook. And
yeah.
I think there's a lot more people listening than you even know, honestly.
You know what? As much as I like to hear that, and you know, a lot of people are listening, that's really, really great. Sometimes, you know, people come up to me sometimes and they'll say, you know, especially about me and you, our relationship, because you've been coming on every Wednesday for, you know, a month or two now.
Yeah.
But when we play those Scumpy games, we have a good back and forth. You kind of give me the business, I give you the business, and
two Manchester guys, right? Isn't
right.
that
But
what
it's it's the banter between, like, I hear it in the afternoon sometimes.
Yep.
And I'm like, the banter is great. Like, you were making fun of my shorts last week. Thank you.
Oh yeah, those
They were
shorts.
They were a little too short.
They were riding up there.
It's the
for
way
sure.
I was sitting, Matt.
Yeah, well,
You
I don't know. Those
Do I
things-
need to put if you're sitting on the couch, do I need to put a curtain?
You might
under-
want to put a curtain there, because I was mesmerized by those legs too.
Right.
Very smooth.
Well, thank
Peter.
you.
Those were
Wow.
very smooth,
You know,
and like I said,
I go to the spa, Matt.
you know, you could be walking the runway in Milan there with those legs.
I don't know. But yeah. So and then I'm not. You know, I didn't set out to do this show for any kind of like notoriety or anything like that, because that's not what it's about for me. And I think I've told you before, I've always wanted to do this right out of high school.
Oh yeah, right. As a kid, you were pretending that you were doing this
Absolutely.
stuff. Right.
And then, you know how you mentioned earlier, like, oh, it wasn't until I was in my 30s I really started to pay attention.
Yep.
Which I did the same thing. And then, you know, when I got in my 40s, I started to say, life is way too short. Go after what you want to do.
Yep.
And, you know, am I making millions of dollars off this great show? No, I'm not. But I have a satisfaction of just being able to do it.
Right.
You know, and I, you know, like I said, going back to seeing the decal on the, this is a good example, and you can bring this over to some of the kids. You know, I saw the decal of the 95.3, and I was very impressed that Manchester Public Television was starting this great radio station.
Sure.
And never think you can't do something. You know what I mean? That it's unreachable or whatever. Because like I said, that night I'm like, they'll never let me be on. You know, I had already shot down the idea, and then later on, I started to think like, well, why not? You know, why not be on the radio?
Right.
Why one day? So here I am today.
I think it's something that you're born to do. You know, and you're doing what you love, and I think that's kind of where our respect comes from mutually together. Is we're chasing our dreams, we're doing what we think is right. And
yeah. We both love the city.
Right. We love the city. We had, you know, single mom growing up.
Sure.
You know, and that love, like, it took a village back then. You know, didn't it? When you say it wasn't just your mother, there was a lot of people involved in your lives. And that's something that's different.
Well, I always talk about my core four because I don't have a real large family. And it was my grandmother, my mom's mom, my mom's dad, my mom, and my stepfather, Tom. And, you know, like I said, I only got my mom left.
Wow.
You know, everyone's gone. But, you know, those are my core four. And that's the reason why who I am today, good or bad.
Yeah, it's good. And there's just not enough people who have that, you know, talking about like what's the difference between walking on downtown today as opposed to 20 years ago when I was in high school. If it was during school hours, right, and I was on Elm Street, every adult would go to me, why aren't you in school?
Oh, sure.
Now you look and you see there are kids rolling around here on Elm Street during school hours, and, you know, we're not, and things have changed, right? If someone said that to me 20 years ago, I would say, sorry, sir, or yes, sir, or no, ma'am, or whatever. Nowadays, there's kids who will turn around and say, go, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Take a walk in the ocean, and those things have changed. And then, you know, you're trying to help the kid, but now you're ready to strangle the kid, you know, and I don't know,
things are different. Things are a lot different than when we grew up.
I think my thing, Peter, that I think about all the time is how do you get people to take a step back? It's a hard thing to do, you know, like how can we really take a step back? And I don't know, we're pushed, you know, marketers like know what they're doing, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And that's been going on for years.
Right, yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Even when we were kids.
Correct.
You know, I'm sure you had
I can certainly agree with that.
I'm sure you had a Tamagotchi.
What the heck is a Tamagotchi? I didn't have a Tamagotchi.
Okay, you did.
No, what is that?
Well, it's this like little thing where it's a little mechanical thing, and you have to, you know, it goes off, and you have to feed it. And no.
Oh, I kind of. I think I know what you're talking about.
Or were you more of a Pogs guy?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I didn't do much of that. I didn't. You know what I did that was kind of embarrassing? Me and my buddy Keegan got on a bus when we were in 8th grade, and I was going to his house, and I've never ridden the bus. I rode the bus.
City bus.
No, school bus.
Oh, okay.
And like if you're going to your buddy's house, you got to get permission. You know, your parent writes a letter.
Right.
This is back then too, so I don't know how it works nowadays. But
pretty sure the same
anyways,
way.
I got on, and you know, I'm excited because I've never really rode the school bus. I walked to school, and these two girls turned to us, and I'm still friends with one of them. And she turns and goes, "Hey, do you guys want to hang out?" And we're in 8th grade, right in our peak. And me and my buddy turn and go, "No, thanks. We're gonna go home and play detective." You know, and we blew it with the girls. And,
right.
You know, but we didn't even care. And we went home and pretended that we were detectives.
Right.
You know, going into high school. So
because you didn't know, or you know, at that especially when you're 8th and 9th grade, you guys were probably interested. Like, oh my God, I can't believe these girls are talking to us.
I was probably sweating like Peter White.
Right. That's right. Yeah. I don't really sweat like that, though. I'm not really a sweater like that.
It was just that night. I know. I
mean,
stay on you for that one.
When it gets humid like that, it gets crazy.
Oh, it was so hot in there.
It really was.
So
and you have longer hair too. I'm surprised yours didn't go all nuts. Like, how do you not?
Well, that's
how did
the
you
product.
not get sweaty?
That's my friends. You know, taking care of me, Tyler Sullivan, with the hair product.
You have hair product. What kind of hair product do you use?
Vidal Sassoon. You know.
Okay.
Paul Mitchell. You know,
Sure.
Tyler's a big Paul Mitchell guy, so Paul Mitchell.
Going back to your friend Keegan. Remember you brought him in here, and then I'm like, there's not too many Keegans around,
right?
And I remember that. I asked him. I said, did you go to Camp Half Moon sometime around 1989?
Yep.
1990. That's the YMCA camp over here on Mechanic Street. I think Camp Half Moon is now out on the Allard Center. I'm not quite sure, but I was a camp counselor back then, and I remember him being there as a little kid.
Sure, yeah.
So it's funny how I remember these things. There's a handful of kids. I worked at the after-school program for many years, and then a couple summers at the camp. And, yeah, I mean, it was great. Some of the great experiences. And it's funny to see some of these kids now because they don't remember me, but I remember them.
Yeah. It is. It's speaking of that, I just recently got in contact with one of my former students who's like 23, 24 now, and I just saw him at Subway, and we got him lined up with the job, and then he's actually got a second job now, but he just asked me yesterday to marry him.
Really?
So
I didn't know you. I didn't know you
I'm
were
a JP.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you were coming out saying you're getting married.
No. Although that'll be coming at some point,
Okay. Well, no, you're not marrying this guy.
Yeah, I'm marrying him. I'm a justice of the peace. I'm marrying him and his girlfriend.
Okay. Well, it sounded like you were getting married to this guy.
No, I'm not getting married to my guy. No.
All right.
But it's the respect. It's remembering.
I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable.
That's fine. I'm all right.
We were talking about pride earlier, so I thought you know.
Oh, that's fine. Listen, there's so many other problems in this world.
No kidding.
If someone is homosexual or heterosexual, that just doesn't matter to me at all. I don't see it, and that's something I always thought, like, I think back, and I do remember that people have made sacrifices for us to have a better life.
That's right.
And
I agree.
There's just so many more problems than those type of things to be worried about. And,
no, Ben, I agree. I agree with you.
I lost my track, but I thought that we were going to, and this is just maybe being naive and being in Manchester, because when we were growing up, there wasn't much of a mix. It was predominantly white, like 98%, I would say, or 90%. I thought that we were going to be the generation that didn't see race, didn't see sex.
No, because that's how we were raised. We were raised to treat everybody the same.
I know. And
blue,
now,
yellow, red, green, gay, whatever. Who cares?
Doesn't it seem like we've taken a step back from that, though, and we're almost going like...
I've said that for a couple of years now. I really do. Because I don't think it didn't seem like we had that kind of problem back then.
Right.
I think it is a step back.
And maybe we were naive, dude. Maybe we were, because we didn't have the experience. But, if I saw a black person, I work with some, African Americans or whatever.
Right.
Everybody is just the same. We're all people, and I think humanizing things really, and I think that's where I was trying to come with Mayor Craig. I was trying to humanize. She can't take a day off. You know what I mean? She's going to be on point, right? She can't. If she screws up or whatever, people are going to notice.
Right, and that's the thing, because you have so many people in the city, and when you have when you're on a pedestal, like either being the mayor or even
chief.
Take the chief of police,
absolutely,
everybody's not. People are going to come at you with different views. They might not care if how you're doing or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I don't know.
And she said, "Keep it
simple."
Takes
a tough person.
She said, "Keep it simple," and that's great.
Takes a tough person.
Have a glass of wine.
You can't please
cook
everybody.
Some dinner, and that's, we're all busy, regardless of what you do and who you are. We really are all busy,
That's true.
Finding that time is.
Well, listen, I want to give a shout out. I haven't got into the Facebook Live room too much this morning, but Miriam Banish, thank you for tuning in this morning. Jamie Brassel, good morning, Jamie. Thank you. Gary Tibbetts, thanks for the call. Michael Albert is in there. He had a question for Mayor Craig. We can get to that one next time. Thank you, Michael. Heidi Hamer, thank you so much for joining in. Chuck Kalanzis, thanks for calling in. That was fantastic. Derek Hodgman, good morning to you. Bill Burke, good morning. And Jan Beaupelant checking in earlier this morning. Thank you so much. Brian Donor, good morning. Ellen Philbrook. And, on our Facebook page now, we have a top fan.
Really?
We have a top,
Angela Philbrook?
It is Angela Philbrook. So I wanted to say, Angela, for the time being, you are the top fan. And I can't change it. I don't make it. Facebook is doing this.
Yeah.
So she is the top fan. And with that, I guess we're going to wrap it up in the Facebook Live room. But first, let's give Angela a big round of applause for being the top fan of the morning show.
I was worried about our 8:30 to 9. right? Just you and I.
Yeah, and I told you not to worry.
You said not to worry. And, Peter, it has flown by.
Oh, yeah, we're just about done here.
What a day.
It was a great day. This is one of those episodes, one of those shows that you're not going to forget about.
We came together today. Instead of being bitter rivals, we are
That's
showing
right.
Manchester
We're
how
not really
it's done.
We're not really bitter rivals.
Bitter rivals who just come together.
You think you're my arch enemy?
Wednesdays from 8:30 to 9, you are one of my nemesises.
An arch enemy?
Yes, of course, of course. But we found a way to come together, and I think that's a message that we resonate. You know, and also as the chief was talking about undercover people, I was thinking in my head, boy, would we make a great undercover duo down in Mexico?
Right. Well,
wouldn't we?
Well, you know what we're going to do after the show? We're going to go. We're going to go play detective.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. What a loser.
Yeah. Thanks.
No, not you. Me.
No. I thought you were talking about me.
No, I was saying what a loser my friend Keegan and I were back in 8th grade, telling the girls, "No, thanks. We don't want to hang out with you. We're going to go and play detective."
Right. You couldn't even have said Nintendo or anything. You know.
Right. Well,
you had to play detective.
Pure, baby.
How did you play detective? Were you guys trying to solve a crime?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'd go around. You know, you'd be going around the corners slowly. We both were lucky enough to have like big old houses. You know, where some nooks and crannies, and going outside, running around. Peter, I don't know.
Sure.
How can we take a step back? We got to get these kids to take a step back. Huge.
I also want to thank Jenny Coffey and Matt Connarton for tuning in this morning. You can catch Matt this afternoon on Matt Connarton Unleashed in the afternoon, right after the morning show replay. I'm going to say goodbye.